because a lot of things that women have to realize that men was not built to deal with all our issues. I mean, they are fixers. You know, if we need something done, you tell them and they will do it. But if you need to go on this drama, you know, with all this stuff, they are not built for it. They can't deal with it. So they shut down when they hear, you know, my husband have a thing that if I come home and I'm telling him something, he will tell me, don't you have a friend you can call about now? Why don't you call your friend and tell them this? Because he said, I can't deal with it. They cannot deal with it. So all I mean, the emotions and things that you're going through, they only want to know one thing: what can I do to fix it? And then to you, it's like you can't fix it if you don't want to listen to the 2 hour drama about how it got from there to there. And I had to realize that men was not built for that.
Did you guys ever feel like you wanted to give up? And if somebody does feel like they want to give up at some point, you know, what can they do to, you know, still ride it out anyway? I don't know if either one of you want to.
Oh,
Okay.
I can go. There are many times I wanted to give up. I wanted to take my kids and leave many times. But when you get to a point when you feel that way, take a vacation away from your husband, either with you and your kids or you by yourself. And I take plenty of vacations without my husband, plenty. So every time things get rough, I just take a time away, you know, and then while I'm away, I think about what the issue that was at the breaking point. What issue brought me to that breaking point? And then I had to deal with it. I couldn't come home and say, hey, I found out that, you know, I'm at the breaking point because you did such, such, and such. Because then he himself was not ready to deal with me and all my issues. Because a lot of things that women have to realize that men was not built to deal with all our issues. I mean, they are fixers. You know, if we need something done, you tell them and they will do it. But if you need to go on this drama, you know, with all this stuff, they are not built for it. They can't deal with it. So they shut down when they hear, you know, my husband have a thing that if I come home and I'm telling him something, he will tell me, don't you have a friend you can call about now? Why don't you call your friend and tell them this? Because he said, I can't deal with it. They cannot deal with it. So all I mean, the emotions and things that you're going through, they only want to know one thing: what can I do to fix it? And then to you, it's like you can't fix it if you don't want to listen to the 2 hour drama about how it got from there to there. And I had to realize that men was not built for that, you know. That's why, you know, with women, you know, they always a community of women talking, women mentoring each other. You know, you have your women as friends, because then if you don't have a strong circle of women in your life, you will divorce. You will leave your husband, because then there's no one to help you carry whatever you're carrying, because your husband is not made for this. And I had another thought, but it kind of like slipped my mind. But when it comes to your husband fixing the things that are wrong, remember it has to be something tangible. You know, they don't really fix emotional stuff for you. You know, if it's something like okay, you need a hug, you need them to pay you more attention, they will do that. But then the things that are bothering you, like oh, I know I was hurt because he said that or he did that, you know, he gonna say, well, what's so wrong with what I said? And he's like, that's how you said it. He's like, so how did I say? So you were not getting any satisfaction. You would not get any satisfaction from that. I mean, if you want him to fix your car, put some gas, you know,
Right.
stuff like that, he's great at it. They're great at those things. But what we need as women, that's why it's always good to have women friends. And we sometimes think our husband is our girlfriends and we treat them as such, and they're not.
Whoa.
They can't, they just can't, they just can't.
Woo!
They can't provide all that need, because there's a reason why Timothy tells the older women to mentor the younger women. There's a reason why. So it's biblical, you know,
Wow.
and a lot of time women feel like when they get in a marriage with a man, he's their all in all. You know, they get rid of all their friends, they get everything they used to do, they get rid of it, and they want to pour everything into this man. And this man is like, whoa, 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 whoa. This is not what I signed up for, you know? Because they don't want, they can't deal with that, you
Ooh,
know,
that
and that
is
is
like a
something,
like,
yeah, and that is
eh.
something
And
that, you
that's
know,
what I'm
singles
telling you
need
all
to,
the time.
Ooh, that is like amen. Okay, Marcia, to wrap us up, tell me from your side.
That's a really good point, Lydia, and people should really take that advice, because yes, when you go into a marriage, you just think, you know, you and your spouse become one, that your spouse has all the solutions and you can dump everything on your spouse and expect him to fix it and give you, you know, advice and make everything okay. But it doesn't work that way, because men are not equipped to handle a lot of situations. That's why, you know, God has made us to be the nurturing ones. And as much as men like to think that they're the stronger ones, they're not the stronger ones.
Ooh.
Carry a lot on our back that men will break down in 5 minutes, you know.
mhm.
Wow.
And so for me, I think the question was if there was ever a time when you felt like giving up. And so, yeah, I have had that several times. You just feel like, you know, when things get too difficult or you don't feel like dealing with this anymore, it's like, in my mind, it's easier for me to just leave and walk away. Like in my mind, because I'm thinking more about peace. Like for me, peace is important. And so I feel like, hey, if I can, you know, have peace, and that means that you're not in it, then I'm okay with it. But is that what we signed up for? No, because when you get married, you just think that you're going to be married for eternity, right? Until either one of you die. And so I want people to understand that it's a journey. It's not an
Mhm.
easy journey. It's a very difficult journey. And the same way how, you know, let's say for your job, okay, whatever field of work that you're in, you have to constantly build on it, right? Because you have new technology coming. So now you have to go learn about the new technology that applies to your job. You have new strategies that you need to learn about to apply to your job to make it better, to make the job easier, to make it more efficient. And it's the same way with a marriage, okay? You have to constantly be working on your marriage to make it better and to make it work.
Mhm.
When you get married, you don't have all the tools that you need to have a successful marriage. You can get advice from people, you can, you know, observe other people's marriages, but really when you're in it, it's a whole different story. And so you have to constantly build up yourself, build up each other in order to make the marriage better. And so you have to constantly be learning, okay, we used to do things this way, but this way is not working anymore. So how can we, you know, do it differently to make it work now? And so the same way how you read up on things, you know, like a doctor, you're in the field of medicine, things are constantly changing all the time. New medicine, new ways of doing surgery. The way they used to do surgery 50 years ago, they don't do surgery like that now. You're in and you're out. You don't have to spend 3-4 days or a week in the hospital. You can leave the next day. And so with your marriage, you have to put that same education. You have to apply the same tools to constantly learning and growing to make things better. You know, use the resources. There are a lot of books out there. You know, read books. See people put their, you know, their life story into the books, how they went from you know, an abusive marriage into still being with that same spouse today, and their marriage is, you know, better. And so it is possible. You just have to make it work. You know, marriages work, and you have to put the work in to make it work. And so you have to be ready for that. You can't come in and say, this is my mentality and this is your mentality and this is how it's going to work for the rest of our life. It's impossible to do that. And that's where you always find a lot of problems. And so for me, as I mentioned, peace is important to me. And there have times where I feel like, well, you know what, you could just go your way and I'm just going to go my way. As long as I have my kids, I ain't fighting for no house, no vehicle, nothing. Just make sure I have my kids and then I'll be fine. I have thought that way. I have felt that way. But is it really what we want at the end of the day? And so, like Lydia said, you take time away or whatever. I've had, to take some time away and take a step back, to kind of reevaluate here. How did we get to this point? And is this what we really want? Is this the best outcome? How do we get past this hurdle? And so in order to continue moving forward, at the end of the day, I always find what keeps us together is the love that we have. And everything is not based on love, but, because when you get into financial situations and you get into dealing with what's the word? You get into dealing with the really, really hard things, whatever it is, if it's you stepping out, your husband stepping out, whether it's a verbal abuse, physical abuse, whatever it is, when you really get into it, at the end of the day, you take an evaluation and you say, hey, am I willing to deal with this, look past this and move forward, or is it going to affect me for the rest of my life? And the fact that we're raised in church and in the faith and what we believe in terms of we didn't get into this for divorce, then you have to come back to that place where, hey, how can we fix this and be able to move forward?
What do you do when you're ready to give up? Have you guys ever gotten to the point where it was like, okay,
listen, I was hoping we would talk about this. I think I'm gonna write a book because I feel like as much as people talk about relationships, going back to, you see the Lambos, you see, all the success. I need to write a book about calling it quits, because I heard this guy say it's better to be alone than to wish you were. And, some relationships that are broken aren't meant to be mended because the parts don't fit well. And I feel like there is that reality that people try to avoid, like it does not exist, but it very much exists. So continue with your question. Yeah, I didn't want to bring it up, but since you're gonna go in there, let's go.
Yes.
Again, this young man is speaking truth, man. There are certain relationships, really and truly, that are just not meant to work. And sometimes it does come from people going in, not understanding what it is meant to be, what it is to mean to actually have to work on something outside of your normal 9 to 5. So they jump into it with these ideals that are just unrealistic. Hey, when we do this, we're going to have sex 18 times a day and yada, 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 and all the other nonsense that comes along with it, not understanding like that is not how it is. That's what you thought it was. That's what you thought it was going to be, but that's not how it is. So if you are still stuck on this and you are married and this is something that is uncompromising to you, go ahead and walk away. But if you go into a relationship when it's, hey, I know that I am going to put into the work, I am committed to this person, I would rather die than leave, and both of you are on that same page. It can't just be one, it has to be both. Then even if you guys are fighting and arguing, you walk away, you separate, you just take time and breathe and meditate and kumbaya and all this other stuff that you need to do. Come back when both of you have calmed down and you can actually speak. One thing people don't understand is when you are in a relationship or even just in general, if you are talking to someone and it's just a bunch of yelling and no one is listening, you're really and truly speaking to get your thoughts and feelings out there. But what they're saying is just going in one ear and out the other because no one wants to be yelled at. No one wants to be feeling like they are being unheard. So if both of you are feeling like that in the moment, take the time out to recognize it, separate for a few, catch a breather, go outside, come back, regroup, apologize, and then now let's sort it out. Um, again, that's only if you are deciding that this is what you want forever. Because again, like we discussed earlier, it is work. There are those valleys that you're going to be deep down in the trenches. So understand that these are one of those times, but that doesn't mean that you can't climb out of it.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So yeah, I just wanted to throw in a couple things in here because I feel like, you know, these things are the reality in a lot of people, especially because we don't live in the time before, right? The reasons why people stayed married before is not the reasons they stay married now, because obviously the socioeconomic, you know, implications are just very different, you know, roles of women and men, all that jazz. But you know, one thing I always tell my wife is the only reason I'm leaving my relationship, and you know, this is not making excuses for other, you know, things that are going to go wrong, especially that we talked about all this work that you're going to put into this relationship. Understand that nothing's perfect, right? But you know, my expectations weren't that she was going to do everything perfect. So I told her, listen, the only thing you could do right now to make me leave you is if you don't love me anymore, right?
Mm.
And that is a very tall bar because people do fall out of love.
I was gonna bring
It
that up.
happens, right? And in my understanding, again, my perspective is mine. You know, there's a few things that you look for to hit that bar because at some point you could know somebody doesn't love you, right? You know, for ladies, you know, sometimes the man will never be the man you want him to be because you're not the woman he wants to be with,
Ooh,
right?
my gosh.
I feel like some people just try to avoid it and you know it's there. So some things that over time you could start assessing and seeing if it is there, right? So conflict resolution, because obviously it starts from a conflict. And once you get from that conflict, you got to start mapping out, are you investing or are you sacrificing? And, you know, the deeper the conflict goes, then you start to realize, well, wait a minute, is this a bigger issue of love or, you know, if it's a conflict? So, you know, the first step, you should be fighting for your relationship, but you should not be fighting alone.
Mm.
You should be fighting for somebody who loves you, but not for somebody to love you, right? And these
Oh.
are things that you have to recognize once you start dealing with conflict in your relationship. You know, forgiveness, it's a big thing. Obviously, that's the linchpin of actually getting stronger, right? But it could also destroy you further, right? When you forgive somebody, you have to start making the association, is this actually investing, right? Or are you enabling? Because a lot of times people don't recognize, you know, you get in this situation, it could be from both ways. The man is just continuing to do that thing, or he changes, but you just can't get over it, right? So you have a situation, let's forget about the man or the woman who just doesn't, you know, just keeping on cheating, because everybody knows that's the relationship side. Let's talk about the side where you just can't get over it, right? Because what you find is, you know, forgiveness is given in installments, right? But what happens is you're going to, every time you forgive that woman, she's gonna love you. And I say woman just because I don't want it to make it all seem like the man. But every time you forgive that woman, she's gonna love you a little bit more, right? And every time you forgive her, you're gonna love her a little bit less. By the time you get to the point of forgiveness, you're gonna feel nothing for her, and she's gonna be totally in love with you, right? So there's all these situations where people just don't go to the actual root of the problem, which is the love you have for that person, right? If that is broken, the love, then that relationship really is over, and you're just fooling yourself. But you know, outside of that, anything could be fixed. Anything, as long as you still love that person.
Because the thing is that you hear oftentimes that love, what's love got to do with it, right? There's a whole song that goes after it. Like, I've heard people say that the love is not what keeps people together. At the end of the day, people make a choice that, hey, I'm going to ride with you until the end. If I feel it this week or if I don't feel it this week, you know, and all those feelings and things they say go away. And at the end of the day, people stay together because they have those kind of core foundational things that they've built together. Like, you guys really think that love lasts? Love will last until the end?
100%. It's just what
Yeah,
type of love
Levi?
are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, as too.
It can, yeah. It 100% it can, yeah.
And even when they
If you look
split
at, but this is the type of love I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
Don't think it's the play love. Could you
Yeah.
imagine, right? There's something that's so hard for you to get over, right? And again, I know. Sorry, my brother, keep on bringing up the Bible, but I'm a believer.
No, you go ahead, man. You good, man. I
right?
respect you. Go
But
ahead.
do you understand that there's there are people who can't get over a certain thing that's been done to them, right? And we're talking about love because through all this conflict, but there's a point in love where Jesus was going through a situation where it didn't happen yet. He knew that it was gonna happen, and yet he did nothing about it, right? Judas was gonna betray him. Peter was gonna betray him, and when he confronted them, he didn't confront them at the point when it was done yet. He confronted them at the point when they were gonna do it. Imagine you could read your spouse's mind right now. And man, she about to bust it open for this guy, and it's like, could you, like, that? Those are real things, right? Because I tell you, I put too much work into my wife for me to let another man come take what I built. You understand? So it's just a different, perspective. So, in looking at this whole concept of love, we got to understand what we're talking about, right? It's embedded in the commitment that you've made, right? You're growing this and you're building this. So, when we throw the love around there, it's not just some arbitrary thing that just exists and, it kicks in every now and then. Like you gotta put, you gotta deposit things in there so you could make withdrawals,
Okay, so those people that are in relationships and they're thinking of calling it quits and kind of thinking of walking away, what do you say to them right now?
Do it.
Understand what you got in there for in the first place. What brought you into this in the first place? And are you willing to throw it away? Is there nothing that can reconcile what you're doing or how you're feeling today? A lot of times what people don't understand is how I'm feeling today can affect my actions tomorrow. So I can be hurt today and just act today, and tomorrow not feel that way, but you cannot fix what you've already done.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to understand beforehand, even when you're upset and you're in your highest state of delirium, what are the consequences to me leaving? And start thinking about why did I do this in the first place? Are you willing? You have to weigh your options. Am I really willing to let this go versus something that can possibly be fixed? What Levi brought up earlier is there are certain things that really can't be mended. Is this one of those situations where it can't be mended?
Okay.
So, yeah, I just went on my, calling it quits rant, and this is my conflict resolution rant. I do believe that I want to leave on a positive note, and most problems I feel like could be fixed, right? You have too many situations where people need things that they don't know they need when they needed it, and they find out, years later that they prematurely, exited a relationship that they just hadn't grown into yet, right? I feel like conflict resolution is a big thing because people just feel like commitment is all preemptive, and there's no, resolution to commitment, right? So if my commitment is, well, you don't cheat on me, you don't steal my money, you don't betray my trust, you don't lie to me. Well, yeah, that's definitely part of commitment, but commitment is also sticking it out when these things happen, right? So for people that are really going through tough times, I feel like the first thing is, as much as I don't advise people to introduce people in your relationship, I want to say this and really qualify. I want to put it the best way possible because it could go very well or it could go very wrong. So, conflict in your relationship is it's almost like a scab, right? You put a band-aid on it. You need to be able to open up that wound, right? To give it aid, right? To protect it from infection. Your relationship is the same way. It's not going to get healed just by covering it up and leaving it there. But you got to make sure when you open it up, it's to get aid to prevent infection and not to get more infected, right? So a lot of people, they stay closed off or they're just too open when conflict comes in their relationship, things that they're going through that they feel like they need to call it quits. And then you realize, wait a minute, man, Papa done had 4 other children that we didn't know about, and he's still married 40 years later. You understand? So those type of things come up, and then just because we don't have the right perspective on really what the relationship should be like, then, you know, we call it quits and all that type of stuff. The other thing I've recognized for women, too oftentimes you put closure in the hands of the person who dealt the pain, right? You should have enough of your own conviction and value yourself enough to know that it's not your fault. But the bigger point is, even if it's not your fault, like that's where you need to be at. Well, I feel like a lot of women, they're just looking for the validation to see, well, if it is my fault, then I'm going to work it out. Well, if it wasn't your fault, you're not going to work it out. Like, I feel like we need to graduate to a different level of the commitment to that relationship to be able to make those type of determinations, right? And for men, you know, that's the last thing I'm going to say, you know, a genuine apology is not saying I'm sorry, but communicating why you're not going to do it again. And I feel like I've been guilty of that. But I said I'm sorry. And, you know, I just I just felt like,
Hey.
no, you should accept that I'm sorry.
Man,
But
that
women
is
really want to
hella true.
know that you're not going to do it again. And that's, you know, the effectiveness of that apology.
So what to add on to that, man, a number of times it really could just be, hey, even though you apologize, you also need to make the person that you're with understand or know that you understand why they're upset and why you're
Yes.
apologizing.
Yes.
I can apologize and be like, well, I'm not going to do it again. But do you understand where I'm coming from as to why this needs to be this way? And sometimes making the other person understand that brings relief onto them because now they have faith that you really do understand and your apology is
Yes.
genuine.
Yes.